Hello.
Hello, Bill. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. It's Friday, we're chilling.
Welcome to Genius Over Matter. This is our first episode. I am the host, Jennifer Went, and this is my good sis, my good friend, Naya Berry. Did I say it right?
Bere.
Berry.
Yes.
Perfect. I got it. I got it now. I'm locked in. Naya Berry. And look, this is Black History Month. Let's get that out the way.
Yep.
And so we are celebrating Black genius on this show, on this platform. Um, yeah, so we're here to talk all about AI and how Black technologists, creatives, builders, entrepreneurs, professionals are using AI like in for real, in real life, in real time. And so let me see who's here. Okay. I need to send out a little thing while we're on here. But yeah, I just want to talk about how you're using it. I want you to do an intro, how you're using it, how you well, you'll say this in your intro. I already know, like how you came into using it and all that. But let's talk about let's give a little intro and then let's talk about how you got into using it. What is the feels? Did you have like fear, apprehension? Yeah, like what are your concerns?
Yes. So, to give a bit of a background, so I am a software engineer and AI educator, and I got into tech after teaching myself to code. It was never more than just, oh, cool, like I get to be a developer at a company, right? And I don't think many of us were thinking about AI, right? So I get into the professional tech space by 2021, was working at a media company for a couple of years. And during that time, that's when ChatGPT was announced. And at first, I think all of us were just intrigued. We were trying it out. It wasn't that good. Like we were just moving on along. But as obviously the months and years have gone, more products have come out that are really good, including ChatGPT has gotten a lot better. And I've now been able to include it into my workflow to the point where now I haven't coded by hand unless I'm fixing something. I don't really code by hand, and I haven't in maybe a year and a half, 2 years, maybe 2 years of not coding anything by hand. And
Wow.
really, it's more about being able to understand the architecture behind things and being able to understand how to prompt properly so that you can get from zero to something built in an efficient manner and in a manner that doesn't destroy everything and more.
Okay, so we have to first you have to give us a little like when you say code by hand, you gotta break that down for us, for our genius listeners, the genius audience. And also I want to get into how does that look like, and then maybe if you could show us a demo or a screen or like a screen share of when you say you put it into your workflow and you're no longer coding by hand. Can you walk us through that whole what you said?
Yes. So coding by hand, I would say, is what most of us think about when we think about software engineering, at least what we thought about before maybe like 3 years ago. It's when you see the person on the screen just typing on the computer, giving a computer instructions to say, hey, like this is what I want to build, or this is what I want to analyze. It's that process of being able to instruct a computer, right? And doing that with your
Mhm.
since then, I'm no longer necessarily instructing the computer through code. I'm now instructing an LLM through English words what code they should generate for my benefit for my projects.
Okay.
Ooh, am I frozen?
No, you're like getting blurry though. Like technical difficulties. So just give us 1 second.
Let's see. And I can hear you now. Oh, there we go.
You can hear
Am I
me.
back?
We're good now. Okay. Hope it's good. I think
Yes.
it's good. You
Am I
look good.
back?
You're I'm seeing you moving.
What was the last thing you heard me say? And I'll go
Okay,
through
so
that again.
the last thing you were saying is that now you are giving the computer or the model the instructions of code, so then it builds what you're saying based on the prompting.
Yes. Now, what I and other engineers like to say is the number one coding language. It's no longer Python. It's no longer JavaScript. It's English. Because through
Mm,
general English, now we are instructing Claude or ChatGPT, this is what I want you to build. And now it's their responsibility to generate the code for the computer.
okay. I do not know how to say our guest that just joined's name. If you can give me something in the chat, but I know that either your middle name or your last name is, or you probably have a few first names. Favor is one. Just put in the chat. Hey, welcome to Genius Open Matter. Okay, so I want to touch on. Do you think like this is wide spread, right? I know at the Davos conference this year, the Anthropic CEO was saying like um software developers, as we know it, the job will be like gone, like as we know it, by the end of 2025, if not before. I mean 2026, if not before. So with like thoughts like that, do you think is that like widespread what you just said about um the number one coding language being English, or being language, or being whatever that language is, right? Um do you think that that's a widespread belief? Because I know that when I put that on LinkedIn, people was in those comments. And when I saw that on LinkedIn from other people putting that on LinkedIn, the comments were going and the fingers were typing. And so do you feel like that's being adopted, or do you feel like you're an early adopter to be saying that as a software engineer?
That's a very good question. If you had asked me this like a week ago, I would have said that's widespread until I saw the stat that said so software engineers use this platform called GitHub. It's basically the software engineering version of Google Docs because we are working as a team and we want to make sure that the edits that someone else makes don't get trampled by the edits we're making, and we can just constantly see what the project looks like, right? And I give that precursor to say that about a week ago I saw that I believe the stat was 4% of code generated was being generated by Claude. And and I will say there's a bit of a caveat with that, because the 4% being generated by Claude is being generated by Claude code. There's tons of people using code on Lovable, on OpenAI, on Claude the browser, etc., and that's not being counted. But at the same time, I did realize that I am in a fortunate space where I like to entrench myself into the ecosystem. So all of my socials, my Twitter, everything, it's me following other software engineers, other people who really like to jump on the bandwagon quickly. And because of this, I have come to realize that, okay, maybe it is not as widespread as I believe, the adoption of it. Maybe it's one in three, one in four engineers right now is maybe the stat I would say. What I will say, going back to a point you mentioned earlier about people being up in the comments when Anthropic CEO said that English would be the number one coding language, etc. I think it matters though, even though this is not a widely accepted notion, it being a widely feared notion is still relevant. And so I think the fact that either people fear it or people accept it, it still goes back to the same notion of English being the number one coding language. So I think for me, yeah, I believe it that in three honestly, yeah, that in I would say 12 months, that software engineering as we know it will be English. And honestly, software engineering as we know it is gone. That I will say. As we knew it in 2022, that is gone. And it's just a matter of being able to adapt and see where it ends up.
Thank you. That was an amazing answer. Like the fact is, it is what it is. Like whether people
Yeah.
are accepting it or not, it is what
Mhm.
it is, and I think we just
Right.
need to go with the times, right, and be early adopters in the space. So let's talk about what you're using, how you're using it, how you're thinking about AI. I want to ask if you can remember, like, what is the first thing that you built or did
Ooh.
when you started using, and was it Chat GPT? What was it?
It was definitely ChatGPT. That was the first LLM that came out, the one that made waves. So it was definitely ChatGPT. Me, I believe, just asking it questions. At the time, the number one thing I was navigating was being in a new corporate space. I had just started my job as a software engineer just a little bit
Like
back.
your first software engineer ever at that time, or just a new job?
My first role as a software engineer, yes.
Okay,
Like
okay,
I started software engineering when I was professionally in 2021.
okay.
So pretty soon, relatively afterwards, ChatGPT came out. And so me navigating corporate space like that for the first time, because I also was just recently out of college. So it really was the first adult job I had. I did use it for like the email checking and saying like, hey, this is like what's going on.
Mhm.
Like, what are your thoughts and everything? And yeah, like I said, it wasn't that great. I would do some tests to see how reliable it was, and I still do those tests, and I still see it's not reliable with everything. So, for example, I have learned to not go to ChatGPT if I need facts because I've just learned how these AI models work, and they're not trained to deliver facts. They're trained to deliver the likely outcome in regards to their sentence structure. And so, because of that, if you're looking for facts, they are simply giving you the likely sentence structure required back. So, I've learned to not really rely on them for things like research and things like that. But
Even let me jump in. Even the do you feel like you'll use the research ones, Notebook LM, Perplexity, like the one when I say the research ones, I mean like the LLMs that are made for research, like they were built for research.
yes, so I'll use research mode if I need to like go down. I actually have research mode going on right now in the background for something. So I'll do that. But those can take like 10 plus minutes. And sometimes I just want a quick answer about something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's why, like, if I need like a true factual answer quickly, I won't go to an LLM. I'll just Google it, read some articles, and call it a day.
Okay. Okay. So back to the first thing you did and how you went about that.
Yes. So now going to the project itself, I build like 6 projects a month minimum. So I honestly can't tell you the first one I built, but I've built anything from like Duolingo clones to a recent project I did was a predictor of the Bad Bunny set list for the Super Bowl. I'll build anything under the sun.
You? I didn't
Yeah, it
see
was
that. I
fun.
even saw that one on LinkedIn. I didn't see that.
Oh, I didn't post it on LinkedIn. That was my fault. I posted it on TikTok and Instagram. So that was
Um,
fun.
I don't live over
Yes. Um,
there.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. But it was really fun. But yeah, everything I build will always just be out of either curiosity for seeing how far I'll go. Oh, actually, now that I'm talking out loud and I'm like turning my roles while I'm talking, I think the first thing I truly built with AI assistance was a dating app. I believe that's what it was.
Mm.
It was a dating app that you could rate the people you went on a date with. Rate them on their timeliness, rate them on just kindness, the quality of the conversation, rudeness, X, Y, and Z. So that's the first thing I built now that I say all that. But yes, overall,
Okay.
it'll just be things for fun, things I'm
Did
curious
you have
about.
users? Did you
Well,
put it out like for the public?
no, no, I rarely will put things out because most of the time I'm building things for my own knowledge and curiosity, to just understand the building blocks that come into different applications. Building a dating app is different than building a social media platform, which is different from building a fitness app. There's all these different what's the word, considerations you need to make, and so I like learning about those things.
Yeah, yeah. I think the first thing that I did, like you said, it was not good. So it was Chat GPT. That was the first thing that I started using, and I wrote a job description at the time. We were trying to look for a agile project manager, whatever, on the team. And they in the whole team, they didn't know what they were like really bad at like hiring and all that stuff. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna take charge of this. I want to do this job description. I want to make interview questions. Y'all interview questions suck. So let me just make up a whole new situation. So that's what I did. I did the interview questions. I did the job description, and that was like the first thing I did. And I was impressed with the output at that time, but I wasn't like, let me start doing all this stuff. I think when I first started using ChatGPT, I used it and then I like ghosted it for, I don't know, maybe like a month. And then I was like, oh yeah, let me go back. I was like, let me remember this thing. And then I started going back to it. And then I think I did my performance review. That was the second thing I did because I hate doing that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I actually built, I don't know, somebody said they have voice interference. I don't know. They also said that your dating app was great in the
Oh,
chat.
yeah. I've built so many. Like I've literally built so many dating apps because there's just so many thoughts when it comes to dating and everything. I feel like there could be 10 million different apps.
Yes, yes. So I did the performance review. And then fast forward to 2025, I built like a dashboard for performance review, and I did release that to people so they could use it, so they could like do their performance reviews themselves. Um, yeah, I have a whole thing about people needing to keep receipts at work, people needing to document everything, um, because people don't tend to do that.
You need to talk to my friend Javon. That's like her whole thing. She is the biggest advocate for that, rightfully so. Cause yeah, no, I want to say honestly, the first time I released something I built was like last month. To be honest with
Oh,
you,
what was it?
It is a job board for people
Hmm.
to be in teams that will actually like embrace their background rather than, go along with what our president says about diversity not being good.
Okay, so it's a DEI, like that's so needed right now. It's like a DEI type of
Yes.
analysizer. If this word.
Like job board, like DEI centered job board. So the jobs on there, they're real jobs, but they're from companies.
Oh, so it's friendly to us that the
Yes,
job.
exactly.
Okay, got it, got it, got it.
Yes, and overall, that's honestly just one segment of it. It's at the Black Female, not at, it's the blackfemaleengineer.com, but overall, it's a whole community. There's a side for getting to learn things like Claude Code and just different things about system architecture, etc. It's just for me a whole hub for what my audience might need right now.
Okay, and then speaking of your audience, let me figure this out. I have to figure out a better way how to use this app. But I think I'm getting it right now.
Because it's a cool app, but yes, it's like it's obviously like I've never seen it, so yeah, there's a learning curve for sure.
Yeah, it's just that the when people come when it's live it's different. Like the platform, the interface, the UI is different than when you're like not. So we're streaming on YouTube, but if we were just on here, like if it was Zoom, it would be different. So I'm trying to figure out like when people join how to do that whole thing. But I have a little system. I don't think it's great. I can somebody says they can hear noise. I don't know. Okay. Let me ask them, what questions do you have? What questions do you have? Do you have about AI? Okay. Um so speaking of your audience, what do you think they need when it comes to AI? What are people saying? What is their pain points? What is their fears? Let's talk about that. And then like what do you think is the biggest skill that people need right now to use AI effectively?
Yeah, I'll answer your last question, then go backwards. I'd say the biggest skill right now when it comes to AI is just simple AI literacy. If you can be at a party and talk to people about which AI models, which AI platforms to use for different things, you will be the spotlight of that party. If you can say, like, oh, yeah, I use Granola for note taking, but I use 11 Reader to read through journals and whatchamacallit, like news releases, etc. That's really impressive. So my biggest thing is to not get bogged down with one platform. A lot of people have just stuck with ChatGPT because it was the first thing and really just called it a day. But it's insane how good these other models have gotten, especially in the last 2.5, 3 years. And so being able to now be okay to experiment, and I get it, it can be annoying to like find your home, but then now you have to break away and see what other things have come into play and which things you like more and have gotten better. But being able to just constantly keep your eye on what's getting better, that to me truly is the number one AI skill, no matter who you are, no matter what occupation you have. In regards to the fears that people have when it comes to AI, the number one obviously is that it is coming for their jobs, and that because of AI, now people's livelihoods are at threat. And I am not here to, what's the word? What's the word for like saying like to just not disregard, but I'm not here to tell you that you're crazy to think that. I'm not
Yeah.
here to make you seem dumb for thinking that. Like, no, that is a legitimate concern, especially with the data on layoffs and everything. It is a legitimate concern. I think the advice I have there is to one, let's understand why people are being laid off, because they're not necessarily being laid off because AI can do their job. It really is not that advanced just yet. People are being laid off because the cost of AI is so great that these companies need to now lay off divisions in order to pay for the advancement of AI. AWS is a really good example of this. AWS historically has been a very lean company because it's a software company. And so their margins historically have always looked really good. However, now with the advancements and the research behind AI, they need to build data centers. They need to figure out infrastructure, all of these things. And so all of a sudden, all of these costs are hitting their balance sheets in a way that has not been seen before. And so to continue with stock rises and all of this, they need to now lay off people. And so
Mhm.
I say this all to say that it's important to know the why, because it allows you to build an armor around yourself. If a company is laying off a department because they see that department's value lower than the idea of AI, because again, it's not perfect right now. We're developing for the idea of it. If people are doing it for the idea of AI, now the question is, okay, how do I make it clear that me sticking around is of more value than the idea of AI in the future? So now you can prepare based on that knowledge rather than kind of just having this defeatist energy and be like, oh, well, AI is coming for my job and there's nothing I can do. So I do want to acknowledge that, and it's scary and it sucks, and the layoffs are real and people are actually struggling. But the best thing we can do is to educate ourselves about one, the state of AI right now, and why the layoffs are actually happening.
All great points. I also would add that we had to do a course correct. I'm not we, because it's not me laying these people off. But the industry had to do a course correction because there was still a lot of bloat
Yes.
from the pandemic,
Yeah.
where honestly the pandemic was like, when Oprah used to be like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's how tech was in the like everybody was getting a job in tech, people with no experience,
Mhm.
people getting like
Me.
six-figure jobs.
I am a product of that.
I am people.
I
Uh,
am.
people getting six-figure jobs right off the bat, no experience in the pandemic, remote, everything they wanted. And they had to course correct. And a lot of those people have gotten let go in this past like 18 months. Um, along with a lot of people like at the top, like that they cut their salary and that's like a whole department's
Yeah.
salary. So that's one of the things that they had to do too. So I think it's very important to be studying the industry and where it's going rather than just saying like, oh, it's because of AI, and then saying
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to use AI. It's making people get laid off. With that
Right.
is actually going to make you get laid off at some point
Yeah.
because you're not using it and you're not learning with it. And
Exactly.
so, yeah.
A good quote that people were saying about a year ago was like, what was it? It was software engineers aren't going to be replaced by AI. Software engineers are going to be replaced by software engineers that use AI.
Yes. That was the number one. I even put that on. I even said that like a few times, but that was
Yeah.
like the number one thing that's going on. That was going on at that time. So let's just tap back into what people should be doing now. I'm hearing a lot of talk where I like what you said about people finding a home in one model and getting cozy and taking their shoes off and their socks off and getting, super comfortable using the model. Um, because for the past like 2 weeks, all I've been hearing is y'all need to use Claude. Y'all need to switch to Claude. Claude is that girl. You don't use ChatGPT anymore. Everybody needs to cut their ChatGPT subscription off. Like on and on and on and on about Claude. I'm a Claude user. I love Claude. I love Claude Code. All the things. Claude Skills, all the things. But I use all of them. Like, why would you kind of like limit yourself, right? To only using one thing. Yeah, I just that thinking I'm just not with it. So I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm curious to hear, have you been seeing that and what do you think about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've definitely been seeing that. What I'll say is like definitely the goal isn't to use all of them for the sake of using all of them, right? It's using all of them so you can see which models are best for what. So if we're talking coding
Exactly.
specifically, um, OpenAI, people, well, one, people were talking about Claude Code, especially because OpenAI didn't have like a good coding agent that they could provide and things like that. So Claude Code was kind of the like the first winner for actual software
Mhm.
engineers. But what I'll say now though is OpenAI released Codex about what 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
and so using that now we get to see, okay, is it Claude Code? I love Claude Code. Let me just say, like Claude, please, because I will sing praises from the mountaintops. But
Yeah.
at the same
If you're looking
time, Codex
for looking
comes
for
out. I Ooh, am I frozen again? Let's see.
it's
Am I back?
blurry a
Am I
little
here?
bit, but mm,
Let's see.
almost is coming back. And to everybody in the chat,
We're
somehow
almost
the
back.
chat is locked, and I'm not seeing you guys in the chat anymore. It's coming back, not yet.
Okay, I think we're all
Almost
okay. Am I back?
back.
Okay, it's back.
It's back.
I think it's back. Okay, cool. Um, I was going to say that I love Claude Code. However, Codex was released about 2 weeks ago from OpenAI, and that is OpenAI's coding agent. And I went over and did the annoying hard thing of getting my shoes back on, tying the laces and everything, and going to this new home, seeing how I like it. And
Did you
although
cut
there are
off your
places
chat? Did you cut off your subscription, or you just was like not using it?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I have the subscriptions to every. You don't even want to see my subscription bill. Like I have because new models are constantly coming out, so I want to be able to constantly be able to test things out. So yeah, I have a subscription to everything. But
Okay.
I went over to Codex and tried it out, and I saw things I liked and didn't like. However, through this practice, I was able to see where Codex was maybe better than Claude Code, but where Claude Code was superior to Codex in such a way that now I'm able to say, okay, if I'm really going for an intricate project, I'm going to start it off with Claude Code. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Then I'm going to move it over to Codex to analyze any security risks or any gaps or holes, especially because Codex appears to be cheaper than Claude Code, cheaper in regards to your
Okay, gotta break
usage.
that down. Gotta break that down for the audience. We're talking about
Yes,
tokens and
yes.
using tokens and how the LLMs use tokens. So just break down like cheaper versus.
Yeah, overall, the simplest way for me to talk about it is just being able to say, like, okay, well, when we're using two different cars, which car is going to get you further with the least amount of gas? And so we have a Toyota, we have a Hyundai, and both of them cost $300 for the lease, but their usage is different. So if I use only the Toyota, I can get to the mountaintop after filling my car up 10 times versus the Hyundai, which maybe I only have to fill it up 5 times. And so being able to say, like, okay, like, and we talk about this a lot with cars, like being able to say, oh, if you're driving down the coast, use this type of car, but if you're going up to the mountains, use this type of car. And so it's the exact same mindset when it
Mm,
comes to LLMs. We need to be able to see, okay, how far can I go without capping on myself and saying, oh shoot, this $20 subscription I got for the month, they're shutting me down because yes, it's $20 and I've been coding since midnight and it is 6 a.m. now. So they are
Yeah.
shutting me down.
They say thank you for the explanation, by the way, too.
Oh,
Um,
fantastic.
that was such a great analogy and a way to kind of explain how you use it. If you do use it, if you are using Claude Code, you will see, or Codex, you will see like your tokens going, how much is using every time you prompt. So it's actually something you can see, not only happening in the back end, like you can see it on your screen, like it's using um 2000 tokens for this particular action or task.
Yeah.
So
And it was
yeah,
very,
now let's go back to Codex now, because I'm actually curious. I'm using Codex for the first time this week, and let me just break down how I'm using it, because I think it's important. And this is something that I'm really proud of, to be on this platform, is breaking down how we're doing things, why we're doing things, what's the thinking, what's the mindset, because I think really that's the most important thing with AI, is the thinking behind it and the mindset when you're using it. So Codex, I am planning to use. By the way, I'm not a software engineer either. I am come from the product world and come from the user experience side of things. So just to give you a picture of what that means, if Naya and I were working on a team together, well, not anymore. I don't know. Things are changing with AI. Back before AI, if Naya and I were working on a team together, I would be bringing to her my vision, my design, what I wanted to say, what I wanted to look like. We call it requirements. I would be bringing all these requirements to her, and then she would be the one to build it out in code, and then boom, it would be an app, a website, whatever. So that's my background in technology. So Codex, I am using Codex to, let me see, can I see this chat? I don't know. Sorry guys, chat's not working. So hopefully if you ask something, it's gonna pop up, but I can't respond to it. I am building something in Lovable. Well, I've already built out something in Lovable. It's a dashboard. Well, one of the things is a career journal, which is like a dashboard view of your work, your metrics at work, like how you're adding value to a project. If you say like, I don't know, I debugged like whatever 1,000 lines of code today, and this is what that meant to my team, my manager, whatever. So it's like an app for you to document what you're doing at work and then figure out why it matters, so that then you can communicate that to your manager. So I built this out, and somebody was using it and they said like they had an error message. So I am going to be taking that and putting it into Codex to figure out why that happened in the code behind the scenes, because I'm not a software engineer. So then Codex is going to do a QA for me, quality assurance test, for me, basically like a doctor, right? It's going to be a doctor for my app, and then it's going to tell me what's wrong, tell me why this happened, and then give me ways to fix it. So then I can take that back to Lovable, which is where I built it, and then I can just like, I could literally, if I want to, just copy and paste out of there and put it into Lovable, and then it's going to fix it for me. And then I've never like had to touch the code or anything, but it's going to do all this stuff. So that I'm using it like as my check point for the things that I'm building with vibe coding, or with just with AI period.
that's phenomenal. That's exactly how I would recommend using it. Like, no matter how technical you are, you're using Lovable, a software engineer on some Fortune 500 team might be using Claude Code, and they would still be using it just like that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I just like thought of that process and I was like, let me see if this is gonna work. So I'm glad you said that. But tell us about the differences that you're seeing between Codex and Claude Code. Now that you've kind of tested it, what do you like? What recommendations do you have for us?
Yeah, Claude Code is a lot more creative with
Mm,
its problem solving. So that's really fun. Seeing it kind of think of different solutions for like the thing you want to build, or even if you want to brainstorm what to build with it, and it's getting up and running. Or it's just providing its first solution of like, oh, you wanted to create so and so project. Here's like the first iteration of that. Claude Code is very creative, which is fun. Codex, I will say it's a lot more structured, which is why I recommend using it for quality assurance because it is a lot more rigid and structured. Codex is also a lot slower than Claude.
mm.
And when I say slower, I truly mean like just looking at them work. You're just like, bruh, like, holy my God, like, come on. So Codex can be frustrating in that sense. It was frustrating for me, but that's also why using it for quality assurance is great because it's taking its time and it's cool using the thing that Claude Code whipped up and then putting it into Codex and letting it do its thing as you make some dinner. So overall, those are the things I've seen. I will say, as a software engineer, it's been a lot more fun to use Claude Code because of its flexibility. Codex, I feel like it will get there when it comes to flexibility and just the different environments you can use it, the different ways you can use it. I believe it'll get there. And that's the whole point of making sure you're constantly testing these things out. But yeah, right now, I will say also Claude is the more flexible of the two. Again, another reason why it's like use Codex for quality assurance because it will give you the
Mm,
structured
yeah.
solutions that.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So I probably most people won't be using Codex because if it's like it seems, in my opinion, someone can learn how to use Claude Code that's not a non-technical person, but Codex, I just feel like it's a developer tool more so
That's
than like a
interesting.
Claude Code.
That's interesting. I've been hearing the reverse because what people will be really intimidated by with Cloud Code is the terminal. People don't want to touch the terminal. And
Oh.
so, because of that, that's been creating a humongous barrier for people. What's great is Cloud Code now is available through just the browser. So now I think they're on the same playing field in regards to that. What I will say also is I believe a lot of people are using Codex also because of the whole usage part we were talking about again. Codex seems to allow you to get further than Claude Code does, making it so that okay, cool, like you don't have to like spend a bunch of money to get the product that you want and everything because it really is just like letting you continue on coding and coding. So that's another reason why people have been really enjoying Codex. That might change because right now it might be because OpenAI wants users. So they've made the whole usage part a lot easier for people because they don't want people to choose Claude Code e- even though that they feel that their product is superior, right? So what's the best way to get developers and people onto their platform? Promising them that they can use it however long they need to. So that'll probably change in a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. I give it a couple of weeks to be honest. But right now, that's another reason people are going to Codex, the extended usage.
Hmm. I I don't know. I've never even used Claude Code in the browser. Like, I don't know.
I've never used
For
that
me as a
either.
non-technical, as a person who's like, I don't even like calling myself non-technical. I should stop. As a person who's not a software engineer, I think um I just was like feeling cool using
Oh, absolutely.
I was feeling like this was like the last hurdle, right? For me as a person,
Absolutely. Because what else is there after the terminal? Like, do you want me
right,
to open up the
right,
computer? Like, what else
right.
is
When we build a laptop, like,
there?
so I
Oh,
I think that I just feel like I'm just using a terminal. I don't care because it just makes me feel like I'm more, even if I'm not being more productive, it feels that way. So,
no, I agree. I will say it's really interesting because I have been holding some Claude Code 101 webinars free for my audience. And I'm shocked by the amount of technical people who hadn't used Claude Code. And it's not because they're not smart. It's not because they aren't driven. It's because the terminal really is a daunting thing for a lot of people, especially for self taught developers, which a lot of my audience is. They're self taught or they just came into tech through an untraditional route. And so
mm,
it really is the terminal. That's the barrier, unfortunately, even though it really is so easy. I'm actually planning to talk about this some more on my channels, just not being afraid of the terminal. But like you said, once you're in, oh, it's so fun. It's so like, like you feel like a
yeah,
hacker almost. You feel cool.
yes, I had never used it. I've seen it before, obviously, and I've seen other people using it, developers, UX people that are like, because some UX people are like engineer, they're like both front end, back end. So, I had saw people using it, but I had never used it. The setup was the worst part. Like figuring out how to. I must have watched like probably took like an hour,
Really?
a
Okay, can
good.
you break that down so I understand like
Okay,
because I've been trying to share with my audience how to like really get through it. So yes, can you break that down for
okay.
us?
So not using it. Using it is fine. I don't have any problems using it. Getting what I need. But first of all, finding command line and like figuring out how to put it onto my laptop because I use a Windows. So I was like, what? Like I watched like 3 different tutorials. Some people have Mac, so then it's like you have to use like watch a different tutorial and then I finally get it on there and
And
then
how did you finally get it on there?
I just went to my uh you can search your desktop. Well, first somebody told me to put, oh my gosh, not cursor. Something like cursor instead of just put like finding the command line, command on my machine. And I was like, this is not working. Like whatever they told me, I was doing that for a little bit and I was like, no, this is not working. I can't. So then when I saw one video said just go to your like magnifying glass, look up command, got the command, then I had to like enable something. I don't remember what it was. So once I did that, that was like the barrier. Once I was able to, I don't remember what it was exactly, but you have to enable something in order for the command to even work. And then when I got that on there, it was seamless after that. So like literally that command,
Getting the command line in front of you. Yes.
getting that onto my screen was the hardest part of the whole process. But then like the MD files and all that, to me that was pretty simple, but it was literally just getting this terminal there.
No, and I'm laughing not even to say like, oh yeah, it's so easy. No, it's I'm laughing because it's like it's so annoying because no, you because even on my Mac, you don't just see terminal. You don't see it.
No,
You have to like search for it. You even when I'm and this is how I show people in the webinar, even when I show like the screen with all my apps, my terminal is not on there. I have to manually type terminal. So
you
it's
have
just so funny that like that's the biggest barrier because it's one of those things where it's like it shouldn't be like this. Like it should not be this
no,
hard,
let me do
but it
this.
is.
It's called command prompt. I'm just going to share my screen so that people can know what we're talking about. I want to let me get fancy. If it fails, then we'll just do it the regular way. Media. Oh, look at this. My whole screen. Okay, so you guys, I don't know if you, oh, you see it. No, this is not it. What is this? Is this it?
Yeah, it looks
Oh,
like
this
you're in
is
your
it. Okay.
yeah.
Um, so this is what I'm talking this is what I'm talking about. Getting onto my computer, and I want to, can you guys see this too now?
Yes, yes, we can see it.
Okay, so you literally have to go to your desktop, and there was something else besides command prompt, and I don't know what that is, but it was getting me so caught up, and I was refusing to give up. What was see, somebody told me do terminal. Then somebody told me Node.js. Node.js is where I was getting, it was a no-go. Like it was a done deal with the Node.js. Mm-mm. So then I finally came in, and I must have typed this command, and then I got this. You get this, which it just looks like this Matrix. It looks like the Matrix movie. And then you click on this. Naya will have to tell you how to run it because I forgot how to even set it up. But once you get that, then you can just
Here,
type
could you X out for us? Can you X out your current one?
this
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
And then can you actually like click like when you search command prompt, can you actually click on it after you search it?
This is
There.
how it will look, right? When you come in here for a new chat. And then let me tell you what happened. I was vibe coding something. So when you're vibe coding, you get like excited, and you get like, you have like adrenaline, and you're getting that reward. So you're, sometimes people, I've seen people say like they're just vibe coding all weekend, and they're not sleeping and all this stuff. So you get really into it. But then when you stop, if you're not used to doing this, I could not even find this. Then I had to go back and watch like 2 more YouTubes because I couldn't find, after the first time using it, I could not even find it anymore. Then I
You're
had to
saying
watch,
you couldn't find the command prompt or you couldn't find your project?
I couldn't find command prompt anymore. And I had to go back and watch YouTube again, and then figure out how to do it. But ever since that was just twice. So that just happened once, and then the second time, and then ever since then it's been good. But it's like it's a whole learning curve. But once you get it, it's good. So you come in here, and I always type, and it always tells me don't type this, and I always type it anyway. I wonder if it's gonna say. It always says you could just type Claude.
Why do you refuse to, to just type
I
Claude?
don't know. I
You're
don't
like,
know.
nah, I need my other letters.
So I just, so this is how it will look when you set it up and you start using it. And so this is what we were talking about, that you can use it in this terminal. I was working on a project before this, so I had my other project up. But this is like the, I guess, home screen or main screen, whatever, how it will look when you come in here.
I want to clarify real quick that so Jennifer was able to only say Claude because she installed the Claude Code package. So to install that package, you would go and I'll actually like put it in the chat.
Okay,
Um,
yeah. Give them the because I don't even
yes,
remember that.
you would go and input this command that I'm going to put in for you. 1 second. But then afterwards, after you install it for the first time and everything, then yes, you initialize it each time by just typing in Claude. So let me put this in the chat.
I couldn't.
This,
Okay, yeah.
you see it?
Yeah, it just came up.
So the link, if you scroll, you'll base it off of which computer you have. So like I have Mac, but then if you have Windows, you use Windows, etc. And you would literally just copy the command that you see on the site. And then in the command line, if it's Windows, or in the terminal, if it's Apple, etc., you just copy and then paste it right in there. And then you will be off to the races.
Okay. Thank you for that. I also want to just share why we're even, or Naya is obviously technical and software engineer, but I just want to say like why we're even using this, why I'm using Claude Code, because I think the why is more important than doing it. In AI work, I think you always need to start with why, because that's how you get to success, in my opinion. Like you're building out a project or you're building out an app or a website, you have to have like some thinking and some planning before you go and just start typing and prompting, right? So to me, I use Claude Code because I want to, like, for example, if I'm going to use something like Lovable, right? I literally build out the entire project. But I guess I could say by hand, right? So when I say that, I mean like I do my design. I have all my design, like how I want it to look, how I want it to work, the functionality slash, what's another way I can say that? The steps that I want it to take. I do all of this like in a Google Doc, even, and then I will put the Google Doc inside Claude Code. I build all this stuff out, like everything about anything that I think of about doing this project or whatever I'm trying to achieve. I do it before I even start using both Claude Code and Lovable. So then I take that, I put everything into Claude Code, and I say like my favorite prompt is probably mm, act like AI engineer and write out the front end and back end requirements, design and functional requirements of how this is supposed to work, and build that out for me. So then it's going to just start coding, it's going to just do all this stuff, put these files on your computer, and then I take those files and then I put them into Lovable. So and then let me just share like, I'm not going to share it, that it's going to take too long to just like walk through every point of that, what I just said, but I'm going to just show the last thing that I built in Lovable doing this and why I like go through this whole process. Like that process could probably take hour, 2 hours, depending on what I'm doing. And I do all that work up front because it gives you a better result at the end. And a lot of people, I think that's where they get like lost with AI, or that's where they get frustrated with AI, because They feel like AI should be doing it quicker than I am, or AI should just be doing it like this, which is true, but you still have to give it. It's just like anything else. Like you're trying to make filet mignon, you have to give it the right recipes for it to be a filet mignon at the end, and not just like a regular T-bone steak, right? So that's why I do all that. So let me just share this last thing that I did, and I was able to do this with just like one what they call one shot prompting, which is just like you only have to put in one prompt and you use less tokens. So remember our conversation before, you want to try to use less tokens when you're building something because tokens cost money. Yeah. So let me see what somebody's saying in the chat while I pull this up. Hopefully your chat is still there. This chat, I don't know, it's not working. Okay, I'm building out a AI community.
Ooh, this is good. I love this.
Thank you. So I'm building out an AI community for people like you lovely people to learn. And we can come and do things like this, and we can really get down into the nitty gritty of AI, building with AI, and people can show what they're building, etc. Anyway, this is like going to be the website for the community. And this is just one prompt, putting in all those documents that I told you about from Claude Code, putting them here in Lovable, and then asking Lovable to use those documents, build it out for me. And this is what I got. And it's like, it works. You could click. What do we have? What do we have? You can, I don't even know what happens after that because I haven't even used this yet. I didn't even, so that's my next step is connecting everything after this, but this is just like getting here and then I'm going to build after this. But like, I think this is really good for something that.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
This probably doesn't work. Oh, it kind of works. So yeah, what questions? That was a lot. Let me go back here so I can take this share down. What questions do you all have? I know we're coming up on our hour. Post the link, please. Okay. Let me see about posting the link. We're coming on an hour, and I just want to make sure if you have questions, you can ask us. What do you want to see? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to know about? Where are you stuck? Let me see how I can. Let me find this community thing while you all are doing that. I feel like I'm gonna have to send this to Naya, and then somehow I can't get back into this chat. I do not know. Oh, I'm back. I'm back. I'm going back to the chat, and Favor says she's a nurse. She's a newbie in AI. She's had a few classes, but she doesn't really know how to navigate the space to earn income. And she would love to work in the AI space. And she maybe wants to start at annotating or a basic role so she doesn't lose her job at the same time. What would you say for somebody new in AI that wants to either side hustle in AI, both side hustle in AI and then get a new role tread in AI?
Yeah, I'd say overall, it's really great that you're in the medical field because the medical field, the legal field, those are really great opportunities for AI because what they're looking for is people who can design and create specialized projects for those specific workflows,
Mhm,
for the doctors,
mhm.
for the nurses, for the lawyers, for their workflows, things that yes, I'm a software engineer, but I have no idea how you guys work. So they're very much looking for people like nurses, like doctors, like lawyers to design AI systems for it. So, for example, what I recommend you doing is to just start noting down what tasks you do throughout the day, just in general.
Mm,
What tasks do you do, and how much time does each task take, and which tasks are repeated throughout the day, throughout the week, etc. And spend, I'd say, a week or two just annotating all of this and writing all of this down. And from then on, the best thing you can do, and I'll give you like what my recommendation would be, but you won't always have, me and Jennifer to talk to. So what I would do is take the notes that you create and go into ChatGPT, go into Claude and say, hey,
good.
I want to pivot into AI. This is how I spend my days. What opportunities do you see for me to integrate AI into my workflow? And then once it gives you some recommendations, pick one and then now ask it, fantastic, walk me through, help me do that. What are the steps? And let's build that together. So that's how I would approach that on your end. On my end, me just hearing that you're a nurse and you're in this specialized field, what I would recommend is to see. So there's this thing in industries called RAG pipelines. It is
Mm,
basically a Google, but for your specific hospital, for your specific law firm. And what it allows you to do is to input information about your patients or information about the history of such diseases and things like that. And now you create basically a glorified chatbot and you can go in through your phone or through your computer, however it was built, and say, hey, what medication would be best for Mark who just came in with these symptoms? And what it would do is it uses the knowledge of the hospital's data and it gets to see like, oh, well, Mark was actually just admitted the same time last year and this is how you guys treated him. Maybe try that approach again. And so I said to say RAG pipelines are really fantastic because it's a way to work with AI in a way that is more secure. One of the biggest issues with the AI industry right now is it's not that secure. And now you're putting data that is just open to the universe and it's likely that there will be hallucinations. So now it's telling you to do all these operations on Mark. Meanwhile, like that's not what he needs, but it's acting off of hallucinations. RAG pipelines allow you to create an enclosed ecosystem where all the data is enclosed, all the information is enclosed. And so now when you're talking to it, it's based on your specific data for your hospital, your patients, etc. You'll get to learn that more as you continue to learn more about AI and chat with ChatGPT or Claude about how you spend your day. But I did want to give you that little nugget that I think through that practice, you'll see one of them mention RAG pipelines. And so that's what that looks like.
yeah, I love using AI for like all career stuff. That's a whole nother thing. Maybe I'll do another episode on that. But that was such a good tip. I hope that I'm seeing the chat going off. I'm hoping that Favor will be able to take that and start putting that into practice. Because that was gold. Um and I'm sure by doing that you'll see where there's some type of gap. Wow, that's really insightful. I had an idea and you just made it. um Yes, Naya is the GOAT. So you will see through doing that some type of like gap that only you can fill. And that's what I love about using AI for career, because eventually you just get to a point where the information is personalized to like only you're going to be able to do that, right? Because you've been talking to it about your own self, your skill set, what you do, and that's highly unique to you. So eventually it'll start giving you problems only you could solve, right? So
Yeah.
if nobody else has any questions or any comments, we will wrap up. Thank you
It was
so
great
much.
chatting with you.
Yes, thank you so much, Naya, for being on this first episode um, of Genius Over Matter, where we celebrate Black genius and Black technologists, Black creatives using AI here on this platform. I am your host, Jennifer Witt. Thank you so much to our amazing um, audience that came, our geniuses that showed up tonight on this Friday night. And yeah, we'll see you next episode.
See you later, you guys. Thank you so much for spending your evening with me. It was great chatting with you, and we'll talk some more.
See Naya online. Follow her on TikTok. Follow her on Instagram. Follow her on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Threads or LinkedIn or YouTube.
Yes, my handle is the Black Female Engineer, and is that across all platforms.
Mine is, well, YouTube, Gentrify Life, and all the rest, Jenna Bowent. So find us there. Somebody is saying something. Oh, that was you, Naya.
Probably. But no, thank you so much, Bill. I hope you have a good rest of your night.
Okay. Thank you. You too. Have a good night. I'm ending the stream, but you'll still be here.